Hello, how you doing? My name is Stacy Heading. You may know me from the Seed-Bound Mentoring Program and also Heal the City. Heal the City was birthed out of the Seed-Bound Mentoring Program, so we put together community projects and bring healing to the city through cultural events, through recreation, education, whatever it takes to make our city thrive, and that's what I'm here to do, and that's what I love to do. So I'm honored, and it's a pleasure today to be here with my man, Will Holly. It's a beautiful thing right now. I am honored to be here. You're going to get some things today that you're going to walk away with that's going to empower you to be successful in your life. So the Seed-Bound Mentoring Program, as you know, we work with young men, get them ready, educated, and get them to college so they can be successful in life. And we also have another organization that we're a part of. It's called Reclaiming Our Boys. And so what I like about this young man is the things that we do in the community, it is to bring and uplift our young people. And so I just want you to just begin to talk about some of the things you do in the history of your work and what have you been doing lately.
Right, yeah, thanks. Well, first, it's an honor to sit with you because I look and I follow your work, especially with our youth.
Yes.
Ultimately, my company, Holly Nance Group, is a real estate investment company. We started in 2005 here in Trenton. We started buying and selling houses, particularly bank-owned properties. Started flipping them, started renting them out, and then we built out a platform that allowed others to invest. So if you've never invested in real estate before, you can come to our company and we'll find you a property, we'll help you renovate it, we'll help you manage it. So we basically give you a black belt in real estate just by stepping in the door. But yeah, that's gave me the financial well-being to do things like I'm doing now, with the Reclaiming Our Boys and other initiatives, and where it's truly where my heart's at.
And we know that our young men need this type of education and financial literacy and things like that. I know growing up, I didn't get that and I didn't receive that. I had to learn some things the hard way. But I thank God for where He has placed me at now, because much is given, much is required. And so with just a lot of things that, with the young people and doing the work for them, how is it that the Holly Nance Group can allow them to benefit?
Most of the young people, in my perspective, they just need vision. I got most of my vision from a gentleman who had an open house in an urban area where he renovated a property. He was from the Bronx. As a matter of fact, he was a graffiti artist. I walked inside the house and he had all these different colors, which is probably why you can see why I did this project in this fashion. But he just showed me on how to renovate a property. It was on Walnut, one of the toughest streets in Trenton. But when I walked out of that house, I was so inspired by what he did. Just from the vision, I went and called the bank up the next day.
Wow.
Basically just said, how do I buy real estate?
Yes.
They ran my credit. My credit was horrible. 400 or 500 credit score because I never paid it any attention.
Yeah.
But after that, they showed me how to build my credit back up, showed me how to look for properties, and it was lights out from there.
Wow. I mean, that's just a great story. That is a true testament for a lot of young people, what they're going through today, really not understanding their credit, and some will not probably persevere after that. They may have given up. So, that's a great story just to let, our young people know to just keep going at it and keep trying. But, one of the things I want to ask you, just talk about a little bit of the history of your work. And I know you've done a few other YouTube videos and been on a lot of work since 2015, 2016. Right. So just talk about some of the things you've been doing up until today.
Right, so 2015, we had an education course, and that was the reason for most of our content.
Wow.
When we put content out, it was so that we can get people into the education program. Now, a lot of people know the kind of volume of deals that we do. My business is a huge commitment, so we teetered away from that a little bit just to focus on the business. But just to give you a stretch on how we built up to today, 2015, 2016, we might have did 10 or 20 properties. Then we went up, 2006, 2007, we did a couple properties.
Right.
And each year we kind of I'd say doubled our growth. And we're scattered site developers. What that means is we're developers, but we go develop neighborhoods, not just one site. So we'll go in Trenton or Willingboro and we'll take 50% of the abandoned properties there and we'll develop them. And we'll either renovate them out, we'll sell them or we'll rent them out. So what that developed into was a partnership with cities, which is now going on. So now that I've bounced around in a couple of cities and I figured out what works and what doesn't as far as development, flipping houses turned into flipping cities. And we've developed into 15 cities we've developed in now. And now I'm gaining the expertise as far as what works and what doesn't work.
Wow.
So I can go into a town, and most people don't know, your town tax rate is basically what they charge you to live there. So we're here in Trenton where the tax rate is 6%. So in exchange for the 6% tax rate that you pay, you're supposed to be getting 6% in services.
Yeah.
So if you purchase a $100,000 house in Trenton and it's worth $100,000, your taxes are $6,000. So that $6,000 is supposed to cover the education. Yeah. It's supposed to cover the police system. It's supposed to cover the roads, things like that. So mayors don't really look at it that way.
They don't.
A lot of mayors, you ask, what is your tax rate and what are you charging people to live here? And they don't know. So if you go to a neighboring town where their tax rate is 3%, like Hamilton, they're ultimately going to see more growth because people are going to look at apples to apples and say, where do I buy it? Do I buy in Trenton when I'm getting charged 6%? Or do I buy in Hamilton or somewhere else where I'm getting charged 3%? Right.
So that that was just some great information right there. Things, at 40-something years old, I didn't know. But the one thing, one question I do want to ask when you're talking about going to different cities, how much involvement would you like to receive, or from the city government, or collaboration, or just coming together? Is that important?
Absolutely. So we can't do what we do without people from the community,
right,
who live in the houses that we build, without the government passing the permits that we need to build the houses. So that's everything. The community also helps us buy houses. So a lot of times when your neighbor's in foreclosure or something like that, we need to be the point person of where you go to. So you can sell it to us. And sell it to us because we're also going to create a standard. We're not like a regular landlord where we're just going to go slop it up together and try and rent it out to somebody. We're going to create a standard with a bar that's up high, so that if we do the place nice, hopefully you'll get a great neighbor and keep that cycle going.
Absolutely, absolutely. So how is it working here in your hometown, the city of Trenton?
Oh man, that's the question I've been dodging, because when I go to these different towns, that is a hot topic.
Right.
You're here. What are you doing here? But we did some great work in Trenton. And Trenton's government has been developing into a more developer-friendly space. There's a new director of housing and economics, Ben, who came down from Jersey City, and he's sharp.
Right.
So before, it was tougher to get stuff done in Trenton. Because some of the people in the past, and I'll just be straight up, didn't have the people's interest totally in mind. So they would make a decision based on their own personal preference, opposed to what's best for the city. But that being said, we still bought and sold over 300 houses here in Trenton. Wow. Because when I look at the Holly Nance Group, and we were talking a little bit outside earlier, we were just talking about how important it is to have a team and people to support you, and how important it is with family. Like, what's the importance of having a strong family behind your back? Well, I mean, even starting out from an individual or a male trying to survive, you need a family.
Right.
Something as little as somebody to read over your report card. Something as little as you going off to college, having somebody having a structure there, or just even seeing how to function. We were talking about this. You go off to college and you're off on your own.
Right.
If you never saw a cleanup day in your house, or you never saw, look, this is the day when we go get the groceries.
Yes.
Or just a structure, you're out in no man's land. So first and foremost, family is great because they're there just for a structure. The other piece, and I'm big on this, is love. So each decision that you make out in the street, that's something that you factor in, is love. And you get to watch kids or other men who don't have that love and support from their family, and they make decisions more recklessly.
Right.
And you get to see kids who you can almost look at them and tell he's got a good upbringing. Right. He's got more things to weigh out before he make a dumb decision. So to me, I think family is everything. It's a huge piece in how you survive out of the urban area. And you can't do it without family.
And how I know what you're saying is true and important, and you walk the walk. When I go out to North Trenton Little League baseball field, I see you and your brother out there and your family, man. Just, you're not even just focusing on your child, but just other young people, you know, and youth in the area, man. And you guys are very involved. And I just think that is important. And do you think there was just some growth in that, just supporting your city, playing softball in the men's league here, part of reclaiming your boys? I mean, things like that. Do you think that kind of have some development in you?
Well, yeah, huge. And even Albert Einstein explained it, where he said, wherever you have, the absence of light, it'll always be dark.
Mm-hmm.
And in our area, it's a model that whenever you achieve a certain status,
mm-hmm.
that you try and move out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, giving back from people that are from the city
mm-hmm.
is extremely important, because we're the answer.
Right.
I gave the presentation a few days ago
mm-hmm.
where I was explaining that I'm the new look that the city has to deal with.
Right.
You know, I had on cut-off jeans, I had on a blazer, and
mm-hmm.
I told them this is what you have to be open to with helping
mm-hmm.
to improve this city. I got to stare,
right.
like, you know, it take some taking in,
mm-hmm.
but that is the new look. And I'll tell you why we are the key to developing the city. And for people that don't know, the city is basically on Section 8 or welfare.
Right.
Right. And you get Section 8 or welfare
mm-hmm.
when you don't bring in enough income
mm-hmm.
and the government subsidizes it. So the city of Trenton as a whole has a $200 million budget. But what people don't know is a portion of that budget comes from the state.
Mm-hmm.
Case in point, we're not fully dependent on our own income.
Right.
We receive a subsidy. I say that we're the answer because we're creative and we got soul mm-hmm. that can dig people out of stuff, dig ourselves out. Mm-hmm. So my mother was on welfare.
Mm-hmm.
She was embarrassed to be on welfare.
Right.
In fact, she, you know, stood in line at Skippy Jake's, and she didn't want to cash her check because she didn't want to stand in line. She was so embarrassed. Welfare people called her house like, "Hey, we sent that to you a couple weeks ago."
Right. Wow.
But her pride allowed her to get off of welfare, mm-hmm. and we did it from resourcefulness. Mm-hmm. So we didn't go out and receive other services mm-hmm. to go live on our own. We had to shack up with my aunt, mm-hmm. and I clearly and vividly remember that. You know, we ate potatoes for a whole week,
yeah, but
we didn't know it,
right?
Because it was mashed potatoes, then it was French fries,
then it was French fries.
Something else.
Yeah. That's how we was with rice.
It was rice, yeah. So my point is, if the city is on a subsidy mm-hmm. and it wants to learn how to get off a subsidy,
right?
You need creative people to do that,
right?
And you need some creativity to do that, and you need to be more resourceful to do that. So that's why I say people are going to be the answer that are from the city, mm-hmm. because we have that mm-hmm. creativity mm-hmm. on how to be resourceful and get off one situation onto another.
You have to be creative. It's funny while you were talking about that, and I was talking about my Seed Male Mentoring Program, and the creativity is we raise money for these young boys to go to college. Right. And so every year or every other year, it depends who's a senior, we do all kind of scholarship receptions, but we're always thinking out of the box. Mm-hmm. So when you look at Trenton, you think there's really no money here, but you have people that care. Yeah. We just get creative so we can do things that they believe in us, and then they just pour into these young men, you know? And so it's very important that we connect with the local unions, and right. we connect with the teachers and former teachers, and we connect with people and talk to them about how can we help send these young people to school, and you are part of the answer to the problem. Mm-hmm. And so, but when in doing that, we have to be creative. So we have to do certain events. We have to bring people down, and we have to bring speakers down. And sometimes we bring them from out of town. We bring them from somewhere else. But you need to hear sometimes a different voice. That's confirmation of the local speakers that are around here also.
Right.
So what they're talking about, it just ties into what someone else is already saying. But you're bringing in somebody that's going to bring the people out. And then we always have our young men to just showcase what it is that they have learned. Showcasing what you learn and how to be great speakers and being nice to people, and you know, being a good listener. And so in these events, these young people display that in our Seed Male Mentoring Program. And so by doing that, we're able to just raise money, to make a long story short. but it's very important that you become creative.
Creative.
Yes, you have to.
Yeah,
it cannot be the same thing.
It was funny. One of the kids who was helped film the documentary here, Josue, and we were talking about them comparing Trenton to the Airbnb in Trenton,
right.
And he said, don't nobody want to go up to Princeton. I said, well, why would you say that? He was like, because there ain't no soul there.
Right.
And I thought about like what's king now. People want creativity and they want soul. They want an experience.
Right.
They don't want nothing vanilla.
No.
Because everything is out there, but they want you to the culture. This is why people traveling across the world. It's
culture.
You got multimillionaires going to India.
Yep.
The poorest, one of the poorest places in the country because it's culture there. Culture. And when I went down to the caucus, the Black Caucus in D.C., one of the largest money managers in the country, who sits in front of billionaires, kind of saved it to the end and said, we as African Americans got one thing that can't be purchased,
right?
And that's soul and culture.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
At the point when we start valuing that,
the
way we I won't say exchange it for money, but just put some kind of value on it, and we know that we got something.
The culture is very important. I also full-time, I work at Isles Youth Institute, and we know that Isles has been around for close to 40 years. And I've learned a lot, and even through Marty Johnson, I've learned about community and community planning, and that had allowed me to really take the Seed Male Mentoring Program and heal the city to another level just by being around and understanding community planning. So now on the spiritual side, all praise is due to my pastor, Bishop Earl Jenkins, because he helped develop the character in me. So the things that I've learned, how to take that and move to the next level in it. But it's very important to just know and understand the culture.
Right.
It's very important. So what I do over at Isles, I have a bunch of young men that's probably part of gangs or affiliated with gangs. Before we go anywhere, we say we're doing it for the culture, right? But what we break down, we put the fist up, we say we're doing it for the culture. The culture means we're on our best behavior.
Right.
We're not acting crazy. And so we go through some teachings and how to prepare them to be sharp young men, because we have soul. People want to be like us, our swag, the way we move, but we're just teaching them, you do it, but you have a love for your people. And so now, after we talk about it, we build on it, before we get ready to go on a trip or go anywhere, and say, for the culture.
For the culture. Wow.
And that, it taps in their head, and then they say, that means we on our best behavior. And they on point. No pants is sagging because it's for the culture.
Right. I mean, it kind of means that they're a part of something bigger. Than themselves. And a lot of African Americans don't know their history, which is a bigger thing than them individually. And that's what they say. You can't really live out your true self if you don't know where you're coming from.
And when they used to hear for the culture, they just thinking of music. It was a cliche for them. So when I said for the culture too, why it was so important, because it was something that they can identify with, but they had no history to it. They never knew exactly what they meant. It's just in a song. We do it for the culture.
Right.
And so they would do it and made the culture. They might have thought it was just dancing.
Right.
But once you break it down and we say, this is us, this is for the culture. Now when we go, we're on point.
Wow.
We're exemplifying healthy relationships. Our young people don't know anything about a healthy relationship. Going to local restaurants in the community, everybody know that I'm a fan of like the Big Easy and Isla Mays and places like that. But the reason I am, because when we bring the young people there, they come out, they talk to them.
Right.
As owners. And then our young people look, oh, they own the restaurant, or she owns the restaurant. And so she takes care of them and have conversations and everything. And this is why people like yourself is very important, because now we're talking about real estate. Now we're talking about educating yourself on even how you talk financial literacy. So it's very important that you continue to give back. And when you look at Reclaiming the Boys and coming to talk to our young men at Seed Male Mentoring Program, we're looking forward to you, man, just educating them, because you've been through the same place they've been through.
I look forward to that, man.
Yeah.
I look forward. You did a great job where it's at, and whatever contribution I could give, I look forward to it.
And they see that. They see the healthy relationships. They see our conversation.
Right.
I always talk about this. You don't know what our young people are really looking at and what they see when we're doing things, the way we exchange business, money, food, sharing food, doing whatever. They're really watching. And so when they watch and they see you shake my hand with a smile and might dig in and grab some French fries and stuff like that, it's like, man, that's what healthy relationship look like, a smile, because at the crib it's rough over there. It's nothing but arguing and who's gonna get the last piece of chicken. So everything counts when we're all together, because it's for the culture, man.
It's for the culture.
Yeah.
You hit on the vision again.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
You can come and you can bring back money, you can bring back home, but just them seeing you function, you know, seeing you come with your wife, your kids, and stop living out the lie, and, sleeping with multiple women.
That's
right. It.
That's right.
Because any businessman will tell you, it's a lot on your brain. It's a lot
of
energy.
It's a lot. That's right.
And most of the jokers out there can't really deal with one woman.
Right. And you can't, you can't stay focused. Right. Because one thing I do know, we have to work harder.
Yeah.
And I say that all the time. I said that one day when we brought Raz Baraka down to Mercer County and community college. We just was having this community fair event, and we were bringing our young people out to express themselves, and we needed a word, and we brought him. But one of the things I said before we pulled him up, I said, man, listen, we have to work harder. Yeah. I have to work harder at my job, and I don't mind, because it developed me, but I'm always thinking out of the box, trying to do something different, because that's just the fact. So I just tell our young people, be ready to work harder. Yeah. Don't be afraid of hard work.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's going to take a lot of time. Right. It takes talent, it takes skill, certain temperament, like all of those things count, man. And I know you see that in the work that you do.
Well, absolutely. And it's something, and you talked about the culture. One thing we have to uproot out of our culture is being slick.
Yeah. Right. That's right.
So being slick is something that you catch on to from doing shortcuts.
Right.
And it becomes a habit. But hard work, a lot of our kids don't know hard work. Yeah. And they don't know that way works. Yep. Because they always been taking that 70% of it. So they trick one another when they don't know, okay, this is what hard work is like. Get up early in the morning. Yeah. Yep. And with your creativity, you're gonna create something magical if you get used to doing things the right way. Right. Because once you get in business, being slick gets exposed. Yep. You're managing somebody money, they want straight answers.
Yes. Yes.
They don't want you to run around in circles. So if you're doing speaking the language that you've been taught, now that you're in business, you look foolish.
Yeah. You're trying to be slick.
You're trying to be slick.
And let me tell y'all one thing about being slick. People know a good story. My friend Solomon said, his ex-wife, they were splitting up, and they were getting ready to divvy up the house. Right. Sell the house, get the money. Solomon knew the guy who was a contractor or who was a real estate guy. So he said the guy said something. The first thing his wife said, she from Dolly Homes. She said, "You think you slick?" She said he said it just flew out of her mouth. That's why when you said that, I thought of that. People know when you're being slick. Right. Trust me. And some people, they'll just go out and say it and blurt it out and just cut you. Or they'll let you go ahead and think you slick. And you think you getting over, man, they just look at them, but they're going to get you at the end.
They're going to know it. And everything's laid out. If you're driving a car that you can't afford and you were a businessman, and he know that you make $60,000 a year, and he know really only 5% of your discretionary income is supposed to go towards a car, then he's reading you. Yeah. You spend outside your means, you're weak.
Right. That's right.
But in the area that we're in is this is how we bluff each other out, right? I'm gonna get this vehicle so I can give off a certain impression. Yeah. But once you enter that certain level of business, it gets exposed. Yeah. I feel bad for a guy that comes in my office and they talking whoop-de-woo. I'm like, I don't do that.
Yeah, right. We won't do that. We won't do that.
Yeah, because we want to create a platform where it's okay for people to be accepted for who you are, what you do, and let's build like a real foundation.
Right. Our young people, man, they need to really get more acquainted with someone like you. They already are, but I just think we need to set something up where you really go around and talk, because they have to hear the genuineness, the sincerity. We have to understand, a lot of us, when we walk out into the community, some young people may have seen you on TV, the youth, let's just talk about the city of Trenton, it's small. Right. They may have seen you on TV, they may have seen you in the newspaper or something, and they think you are like a star or a celebrity. We don't think that, but that's what they think. So when you stop and talk to them, and shake their hand and look them in their eyes and just say nice things and let them know, you know, I'm here for you, man, that means so much to them, man.
Right.
It means
Right.
everything.
Right.
So we can't short sell ourselves.
Right.
We can't
Right.
think if we're out here, if we're doing it,
Right.
and we're making a difference, the first thing we got to do is, man, we got to let these people know, the young people know, we got your back. Yeah, it's very important.
That's funny because I part of a partnership with two white business partners, and we meet downtown.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we people from the community might see a young guy who looks tough, pants hanging down and stuff like that, and you'll see them two walking by each other. And I tell my business partner, say hello,
Right.
because a lot of the times what he's looking for is attention. You might scare him, you might shock him, but the whole, the Diddy Bop walking side to side on the street, a lot of people are looking for attention, and we don't start uncovering stuff like that because we don't have discussions like this.
That's right.
One of the best scenarios that I read in Mike Tyson's book was when he was going through a lot of drama, heavyweight champion of the world. I think he had a meeting where it was Iceberg Slim, who's very emotionally strong, and he basically told the heavyweight champ, "You're a punk."
Right.
But physically, you would look at this and say, why would this guy, 87 pounds, and this guy 250? What do you mean he's a punk? It means you're a punk emotionally.
Yeah.
You got everybody pimping you. You got,
Yes.
you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, but inside, you're weak. I always kept that picture in my head, and I always tried to be strong emotionally first, before physically.
Right. So, we talked a whole lot about a lot of different things. I'm telling you, my brother, we could just go on and on. It's just the love, and it's the love that we have for our community.
Right.
But one of the things I really want to know when you look at yourself and your organization, what are just some of the services that you provide?
So we're a real estate investment company. So now we have about 26 investors. And what they do is they pay me a fee to locate properties, help them manage them, and help them construct them. Normally, if you don't have the money to start investing, I'll just try and help you out. And maybe one day I can sell you a property. For municipalities, as far as the modeling, I'm going to municipalities now and helping them out with scattered site development. So if they're trying to renovate a bunch of abandoned houses, I'll look at what monies they have available to do this, grant money, tax credit, homes, funds, etc., and what's on the market, and come up with a plan on how we can scoop up as many abandoned properties as possible and help the town out by making these habitable so that they can become tax-paying, revenue-producing properties. So, homeowners, of course, if you're looking to buy a renovated house, you can come to us. If you're looking to rent one of the properties that we develop out, we can also find a property for you.
So we're just telling you out here, listen, we have a jewel right here in the city. Will Holly is, he's just a great guy. So I could sit here all day and I can talk and I can just go back and forth, but I just love what you stand for, brother. I told you at the event the other day, I said, I walked up to you, I said, man, you are sincere. You have a heart for the people. You know what I mean? That's what we need, more men like that in our community, men and women that have a heart for the people. If you have a heart for the people, you begin to move with compassion.
Right.
And once you move with compassion, man, and you're empathetic in what's going on, listen, sky's the limit, Eyes haven't seen and ears haven't heard, man, what God has for you.
I appreciate it, brother.